Okay, so not a nice cheery topic like my other laptop talks today. This one's on rape. Awful topic. So, rape, by my view, I'm afraid, is not just a part of our culture. That some of our culture has this, but they'll call rape culture around the American campuses and that sort of stuff. Our culture's rape based right from the ground up. I mean, really culturally, no matter what we might say about rehabilitation, etc. The bottom line is the bottom line enforcement level of our culture, what we do to people who don't want to behave with the general mammalian do it all together program, is we jail them. And I don't think it's much of a secret, and if it is, it's a very, very open secret, that the real punishment of jail, and certainly what people get all excitable on Twitter and things, the way they used to get excitable at a public hanging, now they get excitable about who's going to get raped in that jail. And that really, rape in jail, generally by the guard level people and those who assist the guard level people, is us humans just continuing in our physicality exactly the same method that baboons use. Patriarchal baboons use that as a basic power dominance maintenance system across. And in our culture above the jail level, well, we take that rape into the symbolic. We take it into the world of language. How often does someone at work say, "Oh, geez, so-and-so really fucked me when he handed in that report that, commented on my performance here or there," and so on. And, who do I have to fuck to get a cup of coffee around here? Geez, I'm going to have to kiss the boss's ass to get him to give me a this or a that, or whatever. We moved it, for most of our culture, out of the actual physical exact baboon behavior to language that describes the baboon behavior. We shit on someone, etc., with words instead of, doing the baboon physical, or the in jail sometimes physical thing of throwing some shit. Great for our evolution of the culture. So rape is pretty much at the base of patriarchy. In fact, it may be the core power of patriarchy. Perhaps. When it comes to Tantra, which is my area of work, and most of my work is inevitably helping us of the Western culture, which is pretty much the world culture now, anywhere that watches American TV, helping people of that culture get over the damage that's pretty standard to the culture, the retardation, which you can find. One of my more cheery laptop talks about sexual retardation in the culture. You can go look that up. I'll put a link in the comments. So the way this rape affects things in Tantra is that it's said in Tantra that, at least by me, but I've heard, that a young man is more dangerous to the sexual development of a young woman than a rapist. And the reason is that the same physicality happens. She typically will resist, her body will resist entry. The muscles of the yoni will close, will resist. In the case of rape, and in the case of clumsy young man, and in the case of her not being at a level of comfort and power with this, that she can enfold the lingam. That, is what a woman does. She's a girl. Entering sexuality is what we're talking about. And the physicality happens the same. It's basically uncomfortable. It's probably painful. And it's certainly not delight. And in the case of the rapist, whether the rapist's an alchemist to kill your sister if you don't do this, rapist, or a physical force gang, or if you want to get a promotion, you'll do this, rapist, whatever kind of rapist it is. The rapist, she knows, is an assault. She knows it's an overpowering. It's force being used. She knows that. And it may be traumatic. She may have to get through her healing of it and so on. But she's aligned, she's in tune with the idea of it is to be healed. Whereas with the young man, it's love. And because of, I mentioned, the sexually retarded nature of our culture, a young man in the old language of Tantra, these days means a man in his 20s, in his 30s, in his 40s, in his 50s, his 60s, his 70s, possibly his 80s, even maybe, I heard a rumor recently, perhaps even his 90s. That's still a young man, still a boy sexually, still someone who has not met the power of the feminine, who has not had the lessons of relating to a woman's sexuality. A man needs those lessons, otherwise how is he to even know how that should be? The only women that men have had available to teach them for the last many generations have been women that were raised by men. Women whose first experiences sexually were rape, who have found some way to not just relate to the rape, or even they found the eros of rape. They found there is a delight available, there is a certain juiciness to being raped. And it's the women who find that juiciness and who then choose their rapists and then even choreograph their rape, That's generally what happens. A woman telling a man how to make love to her, she's choreographing her rape. She doesn't know another kind of sexuality, because that is sexuality as far as the highest levels of sexology study I've read. That's the understanding in the Western world. It's all rape. So what does the healing look like? First, it doesn't happen much. Second, it's tricky for males to play their part. It's tricky for the male to stop being the rapist, but it's an interesting insistence. I advise men, if the woman's not open and wanting and just about unfolding, in fact, if her yoni doesn't come and gobble up your lingam, don't go there. Let it take you. That's the way it should be. And if it doesn't want to take you, it doesn't want to take you. And you can argue with her mind all you like, but her body is also involved in this. And if her body's saying no, it's also no. And it is tricky in our culture. I mean, right from the start of people getting together, they're set up to the rape situation. It's almost... just consider for a moment. Let's say there's someone around your world that you know, someone who's there maybe a lot of days, every day even in your life. Someone you'd love to suggest the idea of, exploring some good conscious lovemaking with. Well, look at the context. If you meet them, if you're around them in the context of your daily work, if they or you work for some corporation or in any city or territory with laws governing the conduct of people in this kind of way, and a lot of the world has got that interfering, you're just about a sex offender. What's the phrase? It would be sexual harassment in many social situations to suggest to someone, oh, we should play with that, or, it would be sexual harassment. It's very frowned upon in our culture. And that would be meeting with, in sobriety, with consciousness, with awareness, with eyes open, and hello, and, should we or shouldn't we? Are we ready to go and make some bad mistakes or whatever? No, not okay. But in our culture, go to a bar, get someone really trashed, meet someone really trashed, and take them wobbling out of there and have them so drunk that they can barely enunciate the word no, even if they tried, and take them home and do push-ups on top of them or whatever, and have we call it the gentle sneeze, the kind of forcing out of an ejaculation within a couple of minutes. And that's permissible, correct, more or less encouraged in our culture. That's the right way for people to get together, as long as the age difference isn't too great. Or I don't know if there's much of a judgment around that, but it doesn't make any difference. The damage a young man does in our culture is done by an old man too. There's nothing in our culture with the average 35 or average 45 or average 75-year-old man that makes him automatically better than the young lover of the world of Tantra. We live in a world now where people do not mature sexually, haven't for hundreds of years. And check out the other video on sexual retardation if you want to learn more about that. But in our culture, with this situation, it's grim. I sympathize. I said this wasn't a happy talk. This was not cheery and upbeat. The good news isn't really good news. What you can do for yourself in this, and maybe it bounces on a little bit into the culture too, but just be aware of it. Look with your lover, explore. Where are you the rapist? Look, woman, and see if there's a heat to being raped. Get conscious with it. Direct, choreograph, choose your rapist. And if it comes to an end, you may find your desires expand to something beyond that. You may find yourself enfolding the man. You may find yourself heading towards what you can find descriptions from the beginnings of the school and other writers around Tantra, the lovely Margot Anand. You might find yourself skydancing. You might find yourself using his energy as your meditation to take you to your fullness, your full capacity for the energy of life. It can be a beautiful evolution. The most attained, sexually speaking, women of our culture, I'm afraid, really do not get beyond the level of choreographing their own rape. But if you can choreograph your delight, if you can find your true bliss in these things, and that it probably involves educating, not finding, but educating a man or two, because you might not get it right with the first one or two or three, to be able to meet you in that. High targets, difficult objectives, not very good news. Sorry, said it wasn't a cheery one. Taking a moment to think if there's anything else I particularly feel like saying around this. But I could post, there's a few things on the internet I might post, a few links. Horrible topic, sorry about that. Really. Enough for today.